I always carry a gun on me now, but especially when I go fishing. The last time I went out without my gun, I thought I wouldn't need it since I rarely see anybody else who's ever fishing. Admittedly, I was a bit lazy to run upstairs and grab my firearm since I was in a hurry to get out and get some fishing done before dark. I was wading in the water, casting into the creek, when I got that feeling that somebody was watching me. I turned around and sure enough, there stood this weird-looking guy staring at me with a machete attached to his side. I remember thinking, wow, the one time I didn't bring my firearm, some crazy decides to show up. The guy just stood there staring at me, and he managed to utter a very awkward, "Have you caught anything?" It was kind of like he was hesitating. It was kind of hard to explain. "No, I haven't caught anything," I said politely as I began to walk around the bend. As I'm walking away, I keep glancing back and I see him leaning over trying to keep his eyes on me. After I got out of his sight, I quickly ran up a nearby hill and made my way around the area that I had seen him, which was a little scary in itself because it was very tall grass. I quickly jumped into my truck and headed home. Now, wherever I go, lazy or not, I will always bring my buddies with me, Smith and Wesson. I never used to carry a gun with me when I went fishing, until this day. It was 7 in the morning when I headed to this private pond which I had permission to go fishing. I had been to this pond several times before this day. The pond was fairly large, about 15 acres. Half of the pond was surrounded by woods and the other half was surrounded by tall grass, about shoulder height. It was always my habit to enter the area and survey the surroundings before I started fishing, and this morning was no different. I watched the area for a good 5 minutes before I made my first cast. On my second cast, though, a man who was hiding in the tall grass came out behind me. He was about 20 feet away. He was armed with a shotgun and he had it uncomfortably close in my direction. He began yelling at me for trespassing on his land. In reality, he was not the owner though, as I was friends with the true owner of this pond. I explained to him that I knew the owner and he had given me permission to be there, but he kept insisting that it was his and demanding for me to leave. Well, at this point there was really nothing for me left to do but try to defuse the situation. I told him I would leave, but he continued to point his gun at my direction as I walked out. It was a wake-up call to me. I was just in an incredibly dangerous situation and I had no means to protect myself had this guy decided to take it further. Had I been armed that day, I don't think I would have handled things any differently. I wasn't looking for a fight, but the fight had come to me, and had it progressed, I would have been done for. If you have an SHTF story that you'd like to share, please email me at reallifeshtf@gmail.com.